Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're reacting to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, A Courtship of Rivals Basketball. This is a documentary that came out on HBO. Shout out to NBA Historian for posting it on YouTube for me to watch, because I ain't got HBO like that. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. For the first time in my life, I'm really taking a deep dive into Larry's career, Magic's career, Michael's career. So I have gotten this one recommended countless times by y'all. Really appreciate the recommendations y'all are leaving down below, because I want to learn, dude, and y'all know the best material for me to learn with. I'm excited for this documentary. I've loved Larry's game. I've loved Magic's game with a little bit that I've watched. I'm hoping this documentary can explode my mind and make me appreciate their game a little bit more. I'm probably going to title this like Gen Z Reacts. It's like, low-key, dude, that's who I am. I started watching ball in 2010. I barely know about the past. I know like the important things, you know what I mean? Like Larry and Magic had a rivalry, but I don't know the depth of it. So that's the whole point of this channel. It's the whole point of the reactions I've been doing, and I hope that y'all enjoy the journey with me. So let's check out this documentary that y'all have been hyping up. Let's go.
They talk about it every day somewhere. If I go to a foreign country, magic, what magic? It's the same everywhere.
Let's go, dude. I'm gonna listen to this at a little faster speed, because an hour 27 is a long time. I might have to split this up into two parts. Also, this Larry Bird literally looks like one of my close friends. It's kind of crazy, especially in this photo.
We don't have to say hello. We don't have to call each other.
That's my main competition. It's always been like that.
You know you got this tight bond with this cat, and you don't have to see him for a year or two. But you're always going to be linked to him.
Forever, dude.
We got this connection. It's never going to be broken. I mean, right to our graves. They'll be talking about this 100 years from now.
Who do y'all think is the next closest great rivalry, like Magic and Bird? Because I don't feel like Jordan really had that one counterpart. I don't feel like Kareem really had that one counterpart that like compares to Magic and Bird. Best thing I can think of is maybe like Duncan and Shaq, or Duncan and Kobe. Probably not. Maybe Shaq and Kobe. That's a good like headbutt rivalry, but they were teammates. Steph and Bron. Maybe Bron and KD. Maybe some of those will match up pretty well, but I don't think anything comes close to Magic and Bird. Let's go, dude.
It all began here in Salt Lake City, Utah, on the night of March 26, 1979. It was the NCAA championship, Indiana State versus Michigan State, a game that still ranks as the highest-rated college final ever on television.
Crazy.
A game that's now remembered as a prologue to a rivalry that transformed a sport and intertwined two legacies.
It's so iconic that they met in college and in the NBA.
But on that night, March 26, 1979, the first time Magic Johnson and Larry Bird ever went head-to-head on a basketball court. It were simply two young men trying to win a very big ball game.
Well, this is probably the biggest game I'll ever play in my life, and I just feel like, you know, I'm representing not only myself, my team, but we're representing our school and our town, Terre Haute.
Well, it's a dream come true, really, for me. I won the state title back in my home state, and then my next accomplishment was going to the NCAA and playing in a game like tonight in the finals.
They were two stars thrown together by the cosmos to compete, but only one of them had been groomed for the spotlight.
Groomed?
In his case, it seemed since birth.
I think his upbringing in East Lansing really put that smile on his face in the beginning, and it never came off.
Born August 14th, 1959, Irvin Johnson grew up in Lansing, the gritty industrial capital city of Michigan. Raised under this little roof, he was one of Christine and Irvin Johnson Sr.'s 10 kids.
10?
Christine was a school custodian, while Irvin
I'm not going to react like that to everything, but 10 really shocked me.
Sr. worked two jobs nearly around the clock.
My father, he got up early every morning, 6 o'clock or so, and he went to work on his trash hauling truck every single day. Around noon, he would come home, catch a nap, and then he worked for General Motors for 30 years. And he won an award for never being late and never missed a day.
As a youngster, Irvin displayed his own strong work ethic on the blacktop.
I was out there all day long. Before we went to school, the bus leave at 7:30. I was out there at 6:30 working on my game. My mother sometimes had to bring me food. or she would have one of my brothers and sisters go get that boy so he could eat something.
From a very young age.
Dude, honestly, these are some of my favorite stories. Like the kid playing on the blacktop before school. Now I feel like we got kids being trained at like 5 years old to try to become NBA stars. And maybe that's why injury's so prevalent, or like, I don't know. But there's something about like growing up on the blacktop to me is just so much more impactful than a lot of the stories we get about present day players.
Irvin knew what he wanted to do. He had it all planned out.
My dreams were to play in the NBA and become a businessman.
The first neighborhood basketball powerhouse, Sexton High.
I knew the players, I knew the tradition. I wanted to be a part of that. And it was on the west side of town, which was at that time predominantly black.
But when Lansing, like many cities in the mid-70s, began busing the desegregated school system, Irvin's journey took an unexpected detour to a predominantly white school across town.
My first day at Everett High School was my first time I really had to understand there was a race problem. Nobody white would speak to anybody black, and nobody black would speak to anybody white.
A lot of racial tension, a lot of fights, rioting. They didn't want minorities there.
He kind of shrugged it off, and basically his attitude was, okay, well, I'll overcome this.
Awesome.
Whenever there was any racial problems, the principal would get Irvin and go talk to these kids. I can just see him with his big hands. Calm down, just calm down. He'd break up fights.
Talk with his friends, tell him, let it go. We can't fight about everything. Let's just chill, let's play basketball.
And there was no dispute over Irvin Johnson's ability to play ball. His talent was so great that soon after his varsity debut, a local reporter, dazzled by his exploits, gave the budding star a nickname.
In the beginning, I thought it was foolish and dumb.
Dude, he got his nickname off of a staff writer, Fred. Come on, Fred. Iconic.
Exploits gave the budding star a nickname.
I love that,
In the
Fred.
beginning, I thought it was foolish and dumb. I didn't know nothing about a nickname. Then what happened was, you start saying, wait a minute, it fits my game. Hanging out with my boys on the street corners, we used to sing Temptation songs. They started saying, hey man, Magic, that's cool. And then people on the street started saying, hey Magic. And I said,
He bought into it, and I think he felt he had to kind of live up to that name. And I must say that he did.
He loved it. The more attention he got, he wanted attention from anybody he could get it from.
Yeah, it does. I really love the game, and I just want to win.
Yeah. Bro, I ain't never seen Magic with a fro. I love this.
Irvin loved to dress.
Yeah.
Nice sandal belt pants and overcoats with the fur around the collar.
Let's go.
Always had to have his afro blown out. He had to look the part, play the part.
Irvin was the first guy to have a posse. He not only had a posse of a lot of black kids, he had a lot of white kids and hanging around him.
some of my white friends was like, hey man, we're having a kegger tonight, won't you come on by? And I said, what's a kegger? So he said, well, what it is, we get this big keg of beer, and you just go for it. Okay, well, what time does the kegger start? Because regular party time in our neighborhood is 10, 11 o'clock. The kegger starts at 7. I said, the party starts at 7 o'clock? And I said, okay, man, I'm gonna come to the kegger. We had a good time. The music was kind of bad, but we had a good time, you know.
Yo, why did,
psoriatic arthritis.
an ad, yo, why did Magic low-key end racism? You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to edit this ad out of the video because I was going to pause it and say something anyway. But I feel like what's so impactful to me as well is that Bird was white, obviously, Magic was black, and their rivalry, I feel like y'all told me in the comments, it never had to do with race. Their rivalry was purely basketball, was purely respect for one another's game, and I feel like stuff like this, like having a black player and a white player, almost become friends and have that like rivalry on the court, but off the court, you see how much they respect each other throughout their careers. I don't know, because I didn't live in that time, how bad things were. Obviously, the documentary pointed at it a little bit, but I'm curious for people who lived back then, like how impactful was it to have Bird be white, Magic be black, and have that rivalry but friendship throughout the NBA. I'm curious what y'all think about that for people who are around. Please leave me a comment. I'm very curious.
His senior year, Johnson did at Everett what he had planned to do at Sexton, win the state championship. And when it came to choosing a college, he decided to stay where the love would be assured, home in Lansing.
Next year I will be attending Michigan State University.
At MSU, Magic's star quickly went national. But atop the college game, he soon discovered a certain presence beside him.
Larry!
The first time I saw Larry Bird was actually in a magazine. Saw his stats, blown away by his stats. But let's see if he can really do it against us. And that's always a mindset of black players if he's a great white player.
Fair enough.
In 1978, after his freshman year, Magic would quickly find out when both he and Bird were chosen to play for Team USA in the World Invitational Tournament.
They would put Larry Bird and I on the same team together to scrimmage, right? It was blowing my mind because he's dominating Jack Givens, player of the year in college basketball. Larry Bird is eating him alive. I couldn't wait to call home to tell my boys, man, this dude named Larry Bird is for real. This is the baddest white dude I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, broke the
Well, I
mold.
thought he was very good. There's no question about it. I thought he was probably the best guard on the team.
Irvin Johnson, look at that. Oh!
We didn't get to play a lot, but you could tell.
I think our first game was in Kentucky. We got about a 10, 12-point lead. Man, they put us in. Went to 25, 30, just that fast.
Fast break again, 3-on-2. Griffith. And that's steal by Larry Bird.
Take us out, the lead go back down, put us back in.
That's Bird and Johnson.
The show started again.
When you play with Magic, there's just something about it. You want to make that extra pass. You want to get that rebound and start the break.
We came down a couple times. I go behind my back, no look to him. He no look back to me. And I'm laying it up. I said, oh, man.
Here's that last play, man.
Dude, imagine if these guys were teammates, like legit teammates. Like how we had Magic and Kareem, but instead we got Magic and Bird as teammates. That would have been crazy.
Dick Johnson going in, drops off to Bird. Bird puts it back off, inside to Johnson. Super bad.
This guy got game.
They had some wonderful moments on the court, but they probably spoke to each other 4, maybe 5 times during that entire time period, and it was more like, hello, how are you this morning, Larry? I'm good, Magic. What'd you have for breakfast? Don't remember. Have a nice day.
But such curtness was hardly strange coming from Larry Bird, who was not only one of college basketball's best players, but also its biggest enigma.
I think he was a mystery to the extent that he wanted to be a mystery. He didn't enjoy doing interviews. He didn't go out of his way to do them. He wasn't particularly good at them. He was kind of like, hey, this is who I am. You want to know who I am? Watch the game. That's who I am.
I start to read materials that you're very quiet and you don't enjoy talking to newspaper people.
Well, you know, there's different kind of newspaper people. There's people that try to push you. You know, the people try to get things out of you. Things don't even pertain to basketball, and them the type of people I like to stay away from.
He didn't want people talking about his family. He didn't want his mother to have to deal with that or his siblings to have to deal with that.
You got to remember where Larry came from. You know, Larry was raised in a 2 or 3 room house on a railroad track. Their family probably lived on $50 a week. He was raised tough.
Larry Joe Bird grew up in southern Indiana.
Larry Joe? I didn't know his middle name. I'm going to stop reacting like that, man. Ted Joe? I'm just going to react like a normal human. What am I doing? You go crazy reacting to things without other people around you. I'm sorry.
The twin towns of French Lick and West Baden. The Valley, as locals call it, was a tough working-class area. Tiny and remote, it was one of the poorest places in the state.
I didn't know that people made millions of dollars. I didn't know that everybody had a family car. I was in my own cocoon. I was in a small town with the people I knew, and I thought I'd live there for the rest of my life.
Arriving Pearl Harbor Day, 1956, Larry was the 4th of 6 kids born to Georgia and Joe Bird. Early on, he and his older brothers earned a reputation around the Valley.
We were always considered troublemakers. We're either fighting amongst ourselves or there was always one of us fighting somebody. Larry was always one that kind of instigated things, you know.
If I get my brother in a fight with somebody his age, I was happy as hell, because I like to see him get beat up, and that's just the way it was. If I got in a scrape with some kid, and my brothers didn't come to my side, they knew that when he got home, my dad was going to whip him.
Larry.
You know, man, I wonder how much of that upbringing is why Larry became, like, one of the biggest trash talkers. One of the most mentally, like, locked-in guys. It's because he had these brothers that he grew up with in this small town, and they were the troublemakers. And their dad would be like, yo, you fight, you back your brother up. Love that mentality.
My dad were best of friends. They done everything together. When my dad would go out to my grandma's house, Larry would always go with him. They'd go fishing, do a lot of things together.
But Joe Bird also had a darker side, stemming from a traumatic tour of duty in Korea.
Larry remembers waking up in the middle of the night hearing his father's blood-curdling screams from the nightmares he had had from the war.
Dang.
What happened to his father in the war affected his entire life. He was never able to quite get rid of whatever those demons were.
A talented craftsman, Joe Bird struggled to hold steady jobs. And even when he was working, his demons would, on occasion, drive him to the bottle.
There were times when Joe went out with the guys and had a few beers and the wages didn't come home that night. And that didn't happen every day. It happened once in a while, but when money is as tight as it was for the Birds, once in a while was a major problem for their family.
My mom sometimes worked late, and sometimes she had 2 jobs, but that's the way it was. I worked at school during my lunch hours, worked at the local grocery store, put up hay in the summer. I mean, if you wanted money, you had to get it on your own.
To young Larry, actions spoke louder than words.
He was very quiet, kind of hung to himself a little bit.
I saw Larry take an F in an English class because he had to get up in front of his peers and give a speech. So I won't do it. He just could not get up in front of his friends and talk. He was that shy.
Of course, next thing you know, when he knew it was time for all of us to gather at the gymnasium, well, there he'd be. The minute he'd get a basketball in his hand, things were totally different.
Basketball was just, what came to me seemed like easy. I didn't have the quickness, I didn't have jumping ability. I just thought the game out.
By his senior year at Springs Valley High, Larry Bird had sprouted into a star. But Bird was from the Valley, hardly a hotbed of talent in the big-time world of Indiana hoops.
The first thing they say, well, they don't play nobody down there. He's from French Lick. They don't play nobody.
I think that put a chip on his shoulder, always having to prove who he was and how good he was.
He was good enough for Indiana University's Bobby Knight to come calling late his senior year.
Bobby.
And folks in the Valley couldn't have been prouder. Their local hero was heading 60 miles north.
Bro, Larry really got that Will Byers haircut. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know who Will Byers is? Stranger Things. It's brutal, dude. And he straight up got the Will Byers haircut. Bro, it ain't gonna load. Whatever, dude. We'll just go back to the doc.
Folks in the Valley couldn't have been prouder. Their local hero was heading 60 miles north to play ball for one of the best college teams in the land.
Once I got to IU, it didn't take long to realize that I was out of my cocoon. Had over 30-some thousand students. That I didn't have the funds. First week and a half, I thought, man, this ain't gonna work.
He left after 24 days.
Wow.
Let my mother down. She didn't talk to me for 2 months. But it didn't matter what other people said. To this day, I don't care.
Back in French Lick, Bird took to working for the city, hauling trash and painting park benches. Meanwhile, by that winter, his father's demons had taken him to an even darker place.
By this point, Joe and Georgia were divorced, and he was behind in his payments to the family. The police came by, and of course, they all knew him. So Joe said, hey, I need a few hours to get my affairs together before you take me away. So he called Georgia, and he said, you guys will be better off without me, and I'm going to take my life. And he put the phone down, and he killed himself.
Oh my gosh.
Shot himself.
When Dad passed, you know, it hurt Larry. I mean, that was his best friend. He's gone now. But Larry didn't show it a lot.
He just didn't say much. You know, he just kind of held it within. I've never heard him speak out about it at all.
Dang, man.
I was mad when I heard about it, and I was madder after the funeral because I thought he sort of cut out on us during a tough time. But you know, he went through a lot in his life. He did what he had to do.
Dang, man. Honestly, dude, with Michael Jordan's dad being murdered, Larry's dad going out like this, like it's, again, the crap you go through in life, I feel like really shapes everything about you. And again, it doesn't shock me how killer mentality these guys were because you've already gone through the worst thing possible in your life. You know what I mean? The rest is just like basketball's fun at that point. Like you don't like it's an escape from the hardship that you've had to endure. So trash talking, basketball, the pressure of a buzzer beater, like it means nothing to you when you've gone through something like this traumatic.
If Bill Hodges hadn't been as persistent as he had been,
Man.
Larry Bird might never have existed in any of our minds. I believe that with all my heart. I really do.
It was Bill Hodges, a young coach from Indiana State University, who convinced Bird to give college hoops another shot.
Bro, shout out Bill.
So with a promise to his mom to graduate, Bird headed to Terre Haute and ISU, a school that never so much had been to the NCAA tournament.
Once I started playing, it's the same old thing. You know, he's at a small school and he ain't playing against anybody, which is fine. Still dominated.
Wherever Hoosiers gather, they no longer talk of whether Indiana has
Oh, yeah.
a state bird. Now his claim to fame is just the way he plays the game. Indiana has a new state bird.
Indiana got a new state bird. I love that.
Now, hey Larry, take a bow. Indiana has a new state bird.
What a song,
By
dude.
the time he had led tiny ISU as a senior to a 33-0 record and a spot in the '79 title game, Larry Bird had become, alongside Magic Johnson, the talk of college basketball. Just a year after sharing the court on Team USA, they were back together. And the day before the big game, Magic couldn't wait to greet his old playmate.
Indiana State was on practicing, and we were waiting in the tunnel. We got there early. I wanted to definitely say hello to Larry, you know. When they came through, it was like nobody would say nothing. I wanted to go toward him, like his guys, like made sure that he didn't say nothing. And then they kind of started snickering, like, Michigan State, you in trouble. We're going to kill you guys tomorrow.
I probably did snub him. I don't remember it, but I'm sure I did. I didn't want any, you know, like I call it love fest, hugging and slapping high fives with opponent. You're there for a reason. You're there to win a game.
That just said it's on now.
Love that. Love it.
It is Indiana State against Michigan State. I'm Bryant Gumbel, and the fans here are going bananas. I mean, let's face it, if Larry Bird were black and came from Chicago, it wouldn't have been as big a deal. They were polar opposites.
Yeah.
One black, one white, one outgoing, one shy. That was the charm of the attraction. The Bird against Magic. All of the superlatives have been used, and believe me, all of them have been warranted.
Heading into the tournament, Magic was the bigger star. But by tip-off, it was Bird, having hardly missed a shot in the semifinal, who had become the focus of fans, and more importantly, of Michigan State.
We actually had 2 men on Larry everywhere he went.
There he is, Dick. Look at they have him sandwiched in completely.
I'm surprised they didn't play a box on one. You know, 4 guys on Larry and 1 on the other 4, because they didn't have a lot of talent. You know, if you stop Larry, you pretty much stop them.
Look at the pressure around him. 2, 3 men, and he saw it.
I didn't play well at all. Biggest game of my life, I didn't play well.
Bird, way short.
I think our length and our size, our jumping ability was able to bother him.
Bird hanging, can't score.
I didn't shoot well. Missed, I think, 3 free throws.
Larry Bird has had a cold shooting night.
I battled him, but I didn't have it.
Right, you can tell all these years later that loss still sticks with him.
It's all over. Michigan State University, national champions, 1979.
Magic, not only were you leader on offense, I thought you did a great job on Larry Bird in the zone denying him the ball.
Yes, Coach gave us a good game plan to go against Larry Bird, and all we had to do was go out and do it. That's what we done.
Congratulations, Super Bowl game.
It was over, you know. That was my 4 years. I was done. You know, it still hurts. And when you win 33 in a row and you walk into the game, you know, you never know what to expect. But I expect to win. We didn't win.
Brutal, dude.
Toughest loss I ever took.
It's crazy hearing that. Knowing he had an entire NBA career, this is still the toughest loss for him.
I knew it was going to haunt him forever because we were going to see each other a lot.
The National Basketball Association, in its 33rd season, is troubled by diminishing crowds and declining television ratings, signs that fan interest may be waning.
If college basketball was flourishing at the end of the 1970s, the pro game was crumbling. After the golden era of Bill Russell and Jerry West in the 1960s, a merger with the ABA in 1976 had led not only to new teams, but a new temperament.
Dang. It was a new league with new times, with renegades, with individuals.
There was an argument made, plausibly, I think, that it was too black a league for the United States of America in the late 1970s.
You think about the Knickerbockers at the time. The running joke was it was the Knickerbockers. You know, that's what it was. It was the N-word.
It's turning off a lot of white customers that are coming to the game, you know.
Why?
I think there's a conflict between the white and the black, and I don't enjoy going to basketball and seeing all black players.
I mean, I think when they said too black, they meant...
Dude, again, this is something in my era, do not think about. But the fact that this was so prevalent back then, again, it must have been so impactful to have Bird versus Magic, something to really bring people together more.
Not just in terms of color, but in terms of style. Let me get mine, and the hell with yours.
Basketball for us was about the best moves. You wanted to be that big player that everybody talked about. You wanted to be the one. You didn't think about winning championships or team play.
And those were just the issues on the court.
The NBA had this image of an all-black league with a bunch of guys who did drugs. The teams were losing money, and they had no sponsors. And that's pretty much a death knell right there.
It's a known fact that you need your white superstars. You just need more white ball players on the teams for the white fans to identify with.
And in the newest member of the Boston Celtics, that's exactly what the league appeared to be getting.
There's hope he can help solve professional basketball's difficulties, which some say are compounded by a question of black and white.
Dang. Larry really saved the league, huh? Him and Magic.
The Great White Hope. What does that mean?
Well, you know, it's very hard to say because there's a lot of great white players around, and I just hope that I can just fit in as well as some of them that has fit in.
He ran away from that designation. He made it very clear, almost from day one, that he was not the Great White Hope.
You know, the great players are the black players, and they're the best.
Such deference meant little to black Celtics like Curtis Rowe, Sidney Wicks, and Cedric Maxwell, who looked at Bird and saw not the Great White Hope, but another case of great white hype.
He didn't impress me no more than any white guy I've ever seen play before. I think that you would say that most black players at the time were racist, in the sense that we did not think that you could find a white guy who could play better than any black guy.
When I walk in the first day of camp, them guys were on the floor stretching, and here comes the white savior, here comes this, here comes that. I sort of enjoyed it, because I knew I was going to battle them all day. Curtis and Sidney didn't last long. They didn't make it through the first practice, and they were cut. So then it was just Cedric.
I'm thinking, oh, he's slow, he can't get off a shot. He's not that strong. This is going to be a layup. Bam, knocks down the jump shot. Okay, maybe that was luck. Gets the ball again. Bam, knocks down another jump shot. Now I'm thinking like, okay, hey, you know what? I'm gonna D this guy up. I'm just showing him his life. 20 feet away. Bam. 25 feet away. Bam. Bam. My mind just goes, damn, this white guy can play.
It was a good thing, too. The storied Celtics might have been the winningest team in NBA history, but they were fresh off their worst season in 30 years. And in Bird, they had a player who was not only supremely talented, but tough enough to take on any challenge.
I always played like everybody in the world was against me.
Oh.
I thought everybody was against me. I used to think up things to get me rattled before a game.
He knew how to fight. I know that from off the floor. One night, somebody was giving one of his buddies a hard time, and Larry went over and, said, hey, this is my friend, and this guy was a pretty good sized guy. Back alley, they go out back, and the guy turns and says something to Larry, and Larry hit this guy, and I caught him. Hit him so hard, I go, whoa. He was from the old school, and that's how he played.
Larry Bird plays it to the hilt, baby.
Bang!
I played the game hard. Played rough.
There was no frills about him. He came in, he threw elbows. There was nothing smooth about Larry.
Bro, no wonder he had no back by the end of his career.
New Englanders like that. They're hardworking people. They like that's how people view them, and that's what Larry was.
Larry Bird follows his own shot.
They also like winners. And when Bird led the Celtics to the NBA championship in just his second season, he was finally one of those too.
Wow.
Boston
Year 2 champion is iconic.
loved Larry Bird. It just wasn't so clear at first how much Bird loved the city back.
There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick. Thank you.
Man, Larry was almost agoraphobic in his treatment of anything outside his hometown.
He wanted to be the Wizard of Oz. He wanted to intimidate people and keep them at bay. The further we are away from each other, the more I like it.
I had a nice little house. I had my little yard. I want to go from there to practice back. If we had a game coming up, I want to go there to the game and back home. It was all basketball. My whole life was basketball.
If he was just sitting there with just me, you were looking around mumbling, trying to find things that we had in common that we could talk about. Now we start talking about basketball, start talking about players, it was great. U.S. history? No.
We forced passes, we made errors down the stretch.
Daily events? No.
I made a shot, and from then on we was up by 2, and they had to get back in the game, which they did.
Politics? No.
Try to not do anything I can't do or do no more than what I can do. I just go out and try to do my basic game.
He proudly dubbed himself the Hick from French Lick.
The Hick from French Lick, dude, that's iconic. It's so, again, something I never thought about. Maybe the tension that teammates have with each other. Like, I thought Larry and his teammates were all chill, you know what I'm saying? And when they talked about ball, they were, but separate of that, dude, life is so complicated back then with the racism and I don't know, dude. That's crazy. It's stuff I never thought about.
And he looked every bit the part. But those who played him for simple did so at their own peril.
One of the great ways, I think, of winding up with no money in your pocket is to think Larry Bird is dumb. Syntax is not intelligence. Unlettered is not stupid.
He's got a great sense of humor. He just didn't show that to people. That didn't mean he didn't have it.
He did, however, allow the public one small indulgence.
You could come out on Saturday and watch him mow his lawn.
Huge crowd started to stop. Larry Bird's cutting grass in front of his house. He's mowing his lawn in the springtime.
What?
Larry is about doing things himself. And I think it's one of the things that made him so beloved in Boston.
But as Bird navigated through his new world, he still had one eye fixed on a familiar foe in a faraway land.
Dude, what a good doc so
What
far.
tripped me out was I'm riding in a limo, and I'm seeing orange trees and lemon trees in people's front yards. I said, stop, I gotta go pick an orange. Are you crazy? I said, no, I gotta do this. And so I ran up like a scared little kid, grabbed the orange and ran back to the limo. I'd never seen an orange tree. I'd never seen a lemon tree. I was fascinated.
When 20-year-old Irvin Johnson arrived in Los Angeles in the fall of 1979, he was a world away from Lansing, the only home he'd ever known. He was the #1 pick of the LA Lakers, a once dominant franchise stuck in mediocrity. In the stoic Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers had talent, was energy.
What just
Irvin
happened?
Magic Johnson was only too happy to provide it.
It cut a little bit. I don't know what happened.
Lit the place up. Changed the franchise, changed the temperament. I changed it from the very first game. Here it was, the first game of a long season against the lowly Clippers. And Magic was embracing Kareem as if they'd just won their 10th straight championship. It was like, man, this is a different kind of dude.
Dude, it's Kareem's mom.
From the day he arrived, he became the prince of the city. He reminded me of a guy who wakes up without an alarm clock. And that's what I used to always say. I want to be happy enough to wake up without an alarm clock because I want to go into my world.
Best smile I've seen, man.
He had it, what it is. As far as I was concerned, the it was not his ability or his size. The it was his attitude, was his leadership, was his mind. I mean, I don't have to talk about Game 6 at Philadelphia.
Magic Johnson will jump.
In his rookie season, Magic had helped lead the Lakers to the NBA Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Crazy.
In Game 6, with an injured Abdul-Jabbar back home in LA, Magic played all 5 positions, scored 42 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists,
Dude,
leading
what?
the Lakers to the championship. In just 4 years,
To do that as a rookie with no Kareem, who many think is like the third, second, first best player of all time, is crazy.
he had won titles in high school, college, and the pros.
Dude, also, to win high school, college, and pros all like back to back to back, he didn't even have to play more than a year in the NBA.
Magic, what do you have that makes you perform like this in these championship games?
Well, I don't know. Just I love to win. Across the masthead of the Los Angeles Times the next day, it said, "It's Magic."
Magic.
He was a star when he first arrived here, coming off the NCAA game. And quickly, during that first season, he became one of the stars in town. But that game put him on another level. That made him the star in town.
It's funny how I wanted to meet the celebrities, but they wanted to meet me. I was like shocked.
Dude, Michael.
Like, wow, you know who I am?
He was young, famous, and after Lakers owner Jerry Buss signed him to a 25-year, $25 million contract, very rich. The kid from Lansing was ready to sample a different kind of fruit. His playboy boss knew all the ripest trees.
I said, oh, I'm hanging with him. When they were coming into the box and he had 10, 20 of them, and look, Irvin, which one you want? And I was like, oh, okay, it's like that?
Dang.
And then he said, I'm gonna take you to the Playboy Mansion. What?
Bro, not the foreshadowing to the HIV. Stop.
The mansion? No, you're kidding. I said, yep. So I went there, and my first time, I'm backing up like, I can't believe I'm in, but I'm backing up away. You know, it's like, I'm scared to death.
Dude, is this a meme?
Backing up like, I can't
Dude, this is where this meme comes from? I've seen this before.
believe I'm in, but I'm backing up. Yeah. So I went there, and
What?
my first time, I'm backing up like, I can't believe I'm in, but I'm backing up away. You know, it's like, I'm scared to death. Probably 10 guys to 100 women, you know. Everybody think it's sex-driven, but it's really not. You have dinner, then you watch the latest movie. And then, of course, I don't want to ever say that sex wasn't involved, because if you meet somebody, that's what you wanted to do. You did that, but it's really a great experience to go up there. So yeah, I had fun there.
Well, he came to L.A. like the Pied Piper. You know, people were giving him this and giving him that, but you know, he stayed pretty grounded to the game.
Everybody was getting high then, but you can't even smoke a joint around Magic.
He had real old school, down in the trenches work ethic, and that was honed in him by his dad, Irvin Johnson Sr.
Magic was always this guy. You know, he never did none of that, so I did everything for him.
Oh, golly.
Magic Johnson was living on a natural high. He was starring in the role of a lifetime, point guard of a Hollywood team with an offense called Showtime. He even had the alter ego perfect for the production.
I mean, Magic was his stage name. Even he would laugh about it.
Well, he always says there's two people. There's Irvin Johnson from East Lansing, and there's Magic Johnson from Hollywood.
Irvin Johnson is another guy. You know, here's Magic over here, and here's Irvin over here.
Irvin is this fun-loving guy. Magic was so serious and dedicated to his game, and he was a crazy, crazy competitor and a crazy man.
Irvin, I think, is the smiling kid from Lansing. I think Irvin died about 25 minutes after the NCAA championship game.
Dang.
Irvin doesn't have the ego that Magic has. Magic got a crazy ego, and winning is everything.
And Irvin wanted to, along with Magic, conquer LA.
After having led the Lakers to 2 NBA titles in their first 4 years in town, Magic and Irvin were well on their way.
Magic and Irvin. Man.
I think Magic wanted to be friends with Larry Bird. He wanted to be friends with him on the World Invitational Tournament, and Larry just wasn't very receptive. I think he wanted to be friends with him during the Final Four. Larry wouldn't even go over and shake his hand. So now Magic's saying, well, what's with this guy? Everybody loves me. How come you don't love me? And then they get to their rookie year, the first time they play each other. Well, they have a very hard foul. And they have to be separated a little bit. And Magic's like, all right, well, the heck with this guy. You don't like me? Fine. All right, good. I don't like you either.
You know, he's a very competitive player, and I'm a very competitive player, and we go head to head, and we go for blood almost.
The vibe was nasty. It was ugly. It was we didn't like each other.
I'm the one that did all that. To tell you the truth, it was. I just don't want to be hanging around him. I mean, that's my main competition.
Yeah, fair enough.
He couldn't escape the memory of losing to him in 1979.
Oh, it ate at him bad that he didn't win that national title against Magic. That was something, it just burned him.
It was one thing for them to be in the 79 championship. Magic had the better team. Everybody agreed with that. Magic had the better game. Fine. Now you get to the pros. Larry has this incredible year. But there he is, watching in a club while Magic Johnson wins a championship, and he's thinking, all right, I'm behind 2-0 now.
I watched that game, and I couldn't believe it. I always wanted to play at that level.
But what Bird couldn't possibly have known was that he had inspired Magic's performance when he was named Rookie of the Year earlier that same day.
The PR person from the Lakers says, hey, Irvin, the Rookie of the Year voting has come out. And Magic says, okay, well, who won? He said, well, Larry Bird won. And Magic says, well, was it close? And he said, oh, no.
Dang.
He went out that day, yes, to try to win the NBA championship, but also to prove it to one Larry Bird. You know what? I should have been Rookie of the Year.
Even though I won the championship, I still wanted to win Rookie of the Year, too.
He won that championship. I was pissed. I wanted one.
But even after he had won one the next year, his obsession only grew deeper.
I'd get up in the mornings and see what he did because their games came on late. Then you look at the box score. I had to have him there for some reason. It's like a crutch, somebody I can compare myself to.
Dang.
I
didn't realize how deep this was.
What was being said, that Larry was better than me, and I'm just a guy who can control the game. My first 4 or 5 years, that bothered me a lot. I didn't tell nobody it bothered me, but it did.
Their competitive dislike emerged from a greater truth, that on the court, they were doppelgangers. Team-oriented stars who cared about winning above all else. Basketball savants who fused the substance of the 60s with the style of the 70s to create a new and exciting yet selfless way to play the game in the 1980s.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. But I'm going to pass in a way to make you look like a jackass. They were so similar in the way they competed. I mean, they were two halves of the same brain.
Same craziness to excel.
I seen that first couple days I was with him.
Basketball IQ off the chart.
Seen the game a little different than most players.
Playing the game the right way was everything.
A lot of guys can just score. A lot of guys can just rebound. A lot of guys can just make plays. We can do it all.
Larry and Magic could control the game with 12 shots. It was amazing. They'd be 7 for 12. They'd have 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. And you go, man, the guy shot the ball 12 times and was the best player on the court by far.
I think it was tough at first. I don't think either one of them wanted to recognize that they had any equal anywhere in what they did. But they sure as hell didn't want to recognize that their equal happened to be that other guy.
That's why we hated each other, too, because we knew we were mirrors of each other.
I think for a while, the two of them had to come to grips with that.
They had begun changing the game. But with continued low television ratings and tape-delayed finals, the league was struggling to get the word out. When the NBA and CBS signed a new TV deal before the 82-83 season, the rescue plan was simple. Sell more Bird and Magic, and sell them not just as ball players, but as arch-rival characters in their own dramatic saga.
You got this slick Showtime African-American guy out west, and you got the lunch bucket, floppy-haired white guy with the bruises all over his body. It's central casting. It's perfect.
I mean, this was like made in heaven. In 1979, this idea of Magic and Bird was created. And so that was sort of a no-brainer. We'd have a doubleheader. It would be the Celtics playing first and the Lakers playing second, and that's the way we did it.
And when the Celtics and Lakers both reached the finals just a year into the new TV deal in 1984, it appeared the superstar investment was about to pay off.
It was huge. It was probably the biggest moment the NBA had up to that point. You had Boston and LA, East against West. It had all the elements of a classic showdown.
Including what was becoming the most inescapable element of all.
Did we know that blacks and whites were lining up, the whites with the Celtics, the blacks with... Of course we knew that.
Even in the Celtics' own backyard.
They land at Logan Airport at the '84 finals. He's getting accosted by various people who are telling him Larry's going to take him down. But this one older African-American gentleman comes up to me and goes, "Magic, I want to wish you well. Good luck. I want you to crush the Celtics." And he said, "Oh, well, where are you from?" He said, "Well, I'm from Boston." And he said, "You're from Boston and you're rooting for the Lakers? I thought everybody here was crazy about the Celtics." And he looked right at me and said, "Now, why would I root for those white boys?"
Dang.
Boston, after all, was a town still scarred by the ugly busing crisis of the mid-'70s. A violent period of urban unrest during which white had been pitted against black. The resulting taint on the city nationally, coupled with a Boston roster littered with white players, affirmed to many black Americans that the Celtics were not the team for them.
Even today, people said, "You played with the Celtics." You know, I hated you at that time. You know, I wanted Magic to win. I didn't want that damn Larry Bird to win. We had all these black players, but they looked at us because we had Larry Bird leading us as a team that was white.
They were perfect archetypes for what was becoming the biggest story in sports. But for the real-life players, the narrative was much simpler.
It's finally going to happen. We get to go head-to-head again. It's just a matter of rolling that ball out there and let's get it on.
Welcome then to the Boston Garden and the start of the NBA World Championship Series. I'm Brent Musburger.
I genuinely don't know who wins this.
To the last 4 NBA World Championship Series.
I know Magic won 2 and I know Bird won 1. I just don't know the order in which it happened.
Either Magic or Bird has competed, but this is the first time that the two have gone head-to-head for the title.
Dude, I'm nervous.
Man, we jumped out on them that first game, and we won in Boston.
And with less than a minute to go in Game 2, the Lakers were closing in on a commanding series lead.
Steal. Dang. Crazy.
From that point on, things began to crumble.
Down to 9 seconds. Magic holds the ball. Magic trying to work on Maxwell. Magic has still got it down to 2 seconds. 1 second. He's going to have to shoot it. He doesn't get it off. He doesn't get it off.
Cheesy Johnson dribbling the timeout. What are you doing?
The Lakers regained their stride in Game 3, only to be rudely knocked off it again in Game 4.
Let's go. What a series.
Now let's watch it.
And a fight.
The Celtics, and now the bench is empty.
When Kurt Rambis got taken out,
Dang.
we started fighting instead of playing.
Kareem swings the elbow, and now is yelling at Larry Bird. Jaw to jaw.
And it made us realize we were not mentally tougher than the Celtics.
Magic's just not himself.
To be sure they won't let the time run out as they did in Game 2. Harris nails it all, and the Celtics call a timeout.
There were a number of places where, Irvin didn't do what people expected him to do.
Tied at 123. He misses the first. Johnson misses them both. Celtics want a timeout. Respondent, Magic Johnson goes to the bench. Bird turnaround, hits.
What a freaking series, dude. 2-2.
Game 5 went to the Celtics. Game 6 to the Lakers.
Oh my gosh, this is like literally a storybook ending. What?
It was like 1979 all over again. Down to 1 game for
Yeah.
Magic.
Whoa.
Everybody had to look at it, probably would have said this is going to be a 7-game series.
I thought we'd sweep them in 4, but it's went a little bit longer. Now we just have to do it in 7.
Humor, dude.
That's the only time I ever felt that. There ain't no way they're walking out here with a win.
Magic Johnson.
No way.
Lakers have several
Gotta
chances.
prove it.
Larry Bird chugging down the court. Bird. How does he do it? Johnson with the ball. The Lakers trying to cut it to 1.
Dang, Magic. Wow. Oh my gosh.
The Boston Celtics are the NBA World Champions.
Wow.
I pride myself in being the guy who's going to win it for us and deliver under pressure. And it didn't happen.
I hope he was hurting. Hope it killed him. He made some bad plays down the stretch, and nobody in there was happier than me.
Dang!
You know, not only winning a game makes you feel good, but just knowing the other guy's suffering, and you know he was.
I remember after the game that both he and I were in the showers crying and stayed in there for about 35, 40 minutes. It was hard because not only had we lost to the Boston Celtics, he had lost to his nemesis, Larry Bird.
I think he just made me just like him more, you know, because he was that good. And I think you be jealous. You jealous a little bit.
Larry, does this get you even with Magic for what happened between Michigan State and Indiana State all those years ago? Yeah, we're professionals now, but I won this one for Terre Haute.
Well, it was a big deal, and I remember asking Quinn Buckner about it afterwards. They had a celebration in downtown Boston after they won the championship, and, you know, it was unusual for Larry to have these little outbursts, as Quinn would call them. But, you know, about 11:30 at night, finally he turned to Quinn, he goes, I got him. I finally got him. And he was talking about Magic.
Dang. Dang, dude. I'm going to leave part 1 there because we still got a whole other half of the doc. But golly, dude, what a first half. Magic wins. Well, first of all, they play together on like Team USA or something like that. Then Magic wins in college and breaks Larry. Then Larry wins Rookie of the Year. Then Magic wins a championship. Then Larry wins a championship. And then they face off in a 7-game series. It was absolute cinema. And Magic is like, we weren't mentally as tough. Oh man, I'm excited to see the rest of this, man. What a rivalry, dude. Literally nothing can compare to this. Because it dates back to college. It goes back and forth so well. Good crap, dude. Good crap. Not crap. I don't know why I'm using that word. Dude, okay. Thank you to the people who recommended this one. I'm going to continue with part 2. I got to get going right now, but I will film the other part later and upload them close enough to each other so y'all don't have to wait too long. And I don't want to wait too long anyway. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have a great day, night, whatever time of day it is for you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Doses!